Okay, 7.5 day 2, we are going to continue solving rational equations. Okay, so for example 3a, I have x over x plus 7 equals 2 over x minus 3. Since there's one fraction on the left and right, I can cross multiply, just like last class. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do x times x minus 3. If you would like to distribute, as you do this, that's fine. I'm going to not distribute on the first example. And then if I cross multiply in this direction, I get 2 times x plus 7. I do need to distribute it though, because I'm going to solve it. And because I see that x squared there, I should get 2 answers. I'm guessing I'm going to factor. Okay, so what should I do? Let's move everything to the left. So I'll minus the 2x over to here. So that's going to be x squared minus 5x. Oh, let me get rid of that 14 also. If I minus the 14 over here, I have a minus 14. Let's see if it factors. Okay, and then I'm going to see what I multiply to get negative 14. Probably 7 and 2, huh? And then it has to add up to negative 5, so negative 7 and positives 2. So I get x equals 7, and I get x equals negative 2. Because this is rational, there could be extraneous solutions. It did not tell me I had to write the domain, and I don't if it doesn't tell me that, but I need to respect the domain. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. Since there's an x plus 7 at the bottom, x can't be negative 7, and since there's x minus 3, x can't be positive 3, which means both of my answers are good because I don't have negative 7 or 3. Okay, let's try B. Okay, I have a fraction equals a fraction, so cross multiplying is totally allowed. If I do x plus 3 times x plus 1, I'm going to get a mess, but I'm going to do it. Equals, and then I'm going to cross multiply in the other direction, so I have 12 times x minus 1. Okay, and then I'm going to distribute x plus 3 times x plus 1, or you can do the box on the side, so I have x squared plus 1x. And then plus 3x plus 3 equals 12x minus 12. And then because it's quadratic, I'm going to try to move everything to one side. Since the x squared's on the left, I'm going to try to keep everything on the left. So what do I have? Let's simplify it first. Plus 4x plus 3 equals 12x minus 12. And I can move the 12x over, and then I might as well cancel the 12. So x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, if I want to get 15, it's probably 5 and 3. Has to add up to minus 8, so minus. Okay, so I got 5 and 3. And even though it didn't say to state the domain, I need to respect the domain. So if I look back up here, I can see that x can't be 1 and x can't be negative 1. And if it doesn't say to list it, you don't have to list it, but you do need to go back and look at it to see if there were any extraneous solutions. Okay, let's look at C. Okay, oh, I have a fraction on the right, but I have a fraction plus some other stuff on the left. So I'm gonna have to multiply it by the least common denominator. The denominators are x minus 1 and x minus 1. So I want to get rid of the x minus 1, so I'm going to times everything by x minus 1. Okay, and I'm going to show the first step, which some of you can skip it when you're comfortable and some of you cannot. X times x minus 1 is x times x minus 1. For my fraction, I have 2x. If I times it by x minus 1, that's great, but then there's an x minus 1 at the bottom. Equals, if I do 3 minus x times x minus 1, but then I divide by x minus 1, some of this is going to cancel. So this cancels and this cancels. And some of you will cancel that in your head, and I'm okay with that. Just be really careful. Okay, let's distribute. X squared minus 1x. The x minus 1's canceled, so plus 2x. The x minus 1's canceled, so I got 3 minus x. All right, this is looking okay now. Plus 1x equals 3 minus x. And then I'm going to add the x over to here. And I'm going to minus the 3 over to here. So I'm going to get x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So I got x equals -3 and x equals 1. And again, did not make me state my domain, but I need to respect it. So if I go back up, the denominator is x minus 1. So the domain says that x cannot be -1, or x can't be +1, which means this answer is not valid, but this answer is valid. But I'm going to show that I found this answer and I discarded it. So I got one solution. The other one was extraneous. Let's look at D. I have x over x plus 2 plus 3 over x equals 6 over x plus 2. And actually there's a typo, so let's fix it. On the last fraction, let's make this x plus 2. I know, I'll fix it. Okay, so the common denominators are, we have an x plus 2, we have an x, and this one has an x and an x plus 2. So I'm trying to cancel the x plus 2, and I'm also trying to cancel the x out. Okay, so I'm going to show the first step, which some of you will skip. Okay, I'm multiplying the first fraction by x plus 2 and also by x. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next fraction. And I'm going to times it by x plus 2 and also by x. Then I'm going to the third fraction, which we fixed because I made a typo. And then I'm multiplying by x plus 2 and x. And then all the fractions should cancel if I pick the right common denominator. So these cancel, these cancel, these cancel, and this cancels. So let's bring down what's left. For the first fraction, I have x times x, which is x to the second. For the next one, I have 3 times x plus 2, so that's 3x plus 6. For the next one, I'm left with just a 6. So let's move this 6. If I factor out an x, I get x equals 0 and x equals -3, okay? Does not ask for my domain, but I need to respect the domain. So my domain says x cannot be -2, which is okay, but then it also says x can't be 0. So this answer is not acceptable. It's extraneous, but this answer is good. Okay, we're gonna do a few more, and you can see my work is gonna get wider. Okay, I'm looking for, I have 2 fractions on the left, so I'm definitely not cross-multiplying. I need a common denominator. Does this factor? X squared plus 9, that's x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, that's good, so now they're matching. So I'm trying to cancel out the x plus 3, and I'm trying to cancel out the x minus 3, and that should get all the fractions at the same time. Okay, I'm going to show this first step, which again, some of you are going to skip, and that's okay. So I'm going to multiply the first fraction by x plus 3, x minus 3. Let's go to the next fraction. Times it by x plus 3, x minus 3. Equals the third fraction okay, but let me keep the denominator the same. Okay, if we've multiplied by the correct thing, our fractions should all cancel. So this cancels, this cancels. So I'm left with x squared. Let's see, these cancel, so I get 4x plus 12. And these cancel, and I'm left with -2x. Oh, and because I see this is not about to work, we're going to fix another typo. Okay, let's make this -4x on the third fraction. 4x, and then we will fix it in class. Okay, now let's see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to add the 4x over. So I get x squared plus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Let's try to factor it. 3 times 4 is 12. That adds up to 7. 2 times 6 is 12, and that adds up to 8. So I got x equals -2 and x equals -6. I'm going to check my domain. X can't be 3. That's okay. X can't be -3. Also okay, because neither of those are my answers. Okay, let's try 2 more. Okay, F. So x over x minus 3 minus 7 over x plus 5, and then this is not factored, so let's factor it. Okay, which looks good. So now I want to times everything by the x plus 5 and by the x minus 3. And I think I'm going to try to cancel these in my head. Some of you have been ready and some of you might be ready now. Okay, so I want to multiply this fraction by the x plus 5 and the x minus 3. Since there's an x minus 3 at the bottom, the x minus 3s are going to cancel. So I'm going to be left with the x and the x plus 5. I'm going to bring over the minus and the 7. Okay, for this next fraction, I have minus 7. If I multiply by x plus 5, x minus 3, the x plus 5 is going to cancel. And then the x minus 3 is going to be left over. Okay, for this last fraction, I have the 24. The x plus 5s are going to cancel, the x minus 3s are going to cancel, and I'm left with just the 24. And this is how some people skip that first step, and you are welcome to do so as long as you can see what's there and what's left. What is that? Minus 2x. Let me move the 24 now too. Minus 3 equals 0. X minus 3, x plus 1. I get x is 3 and x is negative 1. I check my domain. X cannot be positive 3, which means this is no good. And x cannot be negative 5. So this one's okay. Okay, one more problem. Okay, I have 1 minus 8 over x minus 5 and x. So I want to cancel out the fractions. So I'm going to need to times by the x and the x minus 5. Okay, and then let's try to distribute this in our head. Okay, I have 1 times x minus 5. Okay, so that's going to be 1 times x minus 5. Okay, I'm going to bring over the minus and the 8. Okay, for this fraction right here, if I multiply by x minus 5, the x minus 5s cancel. But I'm still left with the x, so I'm going to bring down the x. Equals. On this fraction, I have a 3 at the top. If I do this times this, the x's cancel, but I'm still left with the x minus 5. Okay, let's simplify this. X times x squared minus 5x minus 8x equals 3x minus 15. X squared minus 13x equals 3x minus 15. Okay, let me subtract the 3x over, so x squared minus 16x. And then if I add the 15 plus 15. Okay, now I'm going to factor. To get 15, I could do 3 times 5. But that doesn't add up. That adds up to 8. So I'm going to have to do 15 times 1. So my answers are x equals 15 and x equals 1. I'm going to check my domain. X can't be 5. That's fine. X can't be 0. So both of these answers are valid answers.